Hey, what's up, everyone? It's Zach from the ZAP podcast. I have always wanted to start a podcast, but I never knew where to start or where to even begin. And then I stumbled across the Anchor app. I love the Anchor app because it's completely free and it has all the editing and uploading capabilities that you need right from your phone. So it's super easy and super user friendly. If you've always wanted to start a podcast, go download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. All right, let's get on to the episode. All right, what's up, everyone? It's Zach, and today I'm here with a very special guest. I am here with Tre Walker. Tre, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing good, man. Feeling good, living better, man.
I love it. I
Always.
love it. Always, yeah, super important. Well, thank you for coming here tonight. To everyone listening back home, Tre is a comedian, so I anticipate that you'll probably get at least one or two good laughs in this podcast episode.
Oh man, don't
But
put the pressure on me.
well, see, I already laughed, so you did your job right there. But Tre, he does stand up, he does improv, he does sketch comedy, and he also um, has been going into streaming a little bit. So I'm sure that's something else we might get into a little bit in the conversation. But that's kind of Tre from a surface level. But do you mind telling us a little bit about yourself, your background, what you're doing, all that good stuff?
Oh yeah, yeah. Like you said, man, I'm a comedian. I'm from Chicago. Originally, I started my career out there, but I currently live in like the Seattle area. So I've been doing a lot of shows out here and performing. I started with improv, and then eventually, the pandemic hit, and then I had to do some TikToks, and I did a bunch of TikToks, and then after the pandemic, or when stuff started opening up again, like I just wanted to get on stage so bad, I just did as much as I could, and that included me falling in love with stand up, and I used to be scared of it, but now I'm more well versed in my comedic preference and my comedic, talents. But other than that, man, I like hanging out with my dog, my wife, my family. I like to travel. I like to game. I like PC gaming. I got a Nintendo Switch. I stream, like you said, and then I mean, football season's pretty much over, but that's probably another passion. I enjoy watching football. I don't play much anymore, but I'm like a oxymoron, a cool nerd.
I love it. You get the best of both worlds that way, right?
Right.
Awesome. So, Trey, I know that you said that you kind of started to get into comedy through improv. What led you to that? Like, was it something that you've always had interest in, or did you like take a class in it or a workshop, or how'd you get involved?
Honestly, I was thinking about this the other day. It's crazy you ask me. People ask me a lot that question, but like I remember when I was younger, there was like a career day at school when I was in like the eighth grade, and like I thought about it like something I wanted to do. Like I always enjoyed entertaining people. And like in that career day, they went around the class and they asked people like what they wanted to be when they grew up. And I remember saying like I wanted to be a comedian. And the whole class laughed at me like they laughed at me, like not with me like they do now, but like they laughed at me like you can't do that. You're not even funny type deal.
Yeah.
And I remember like thinking like I made all you guys laugh, and like it just hit me like hard in my soul because like when you're in middle school, like you all you have is school
Right.
and the opinions of others, and like it just like it threw me off of like that path of becoming a comedian sooner. But when I was 23, I was actually like on a plane back home from a trip. I think I was coming home from Vegas or something like that, and I was just like, man, I need like a something I'm actually passionate about. Like I know I love traveling, but traveling isn't like a job or like a career, unless you find like a career of traveling, like making YouTube videos about going around the world and stuff like that. But I don't want to
Right.
do that. And I ended up watching this movie called Don't Think Twice, and
Okay.
it was on Netflix at the time. It has Keegan Michael Key in it,
Yeah.
and it's about improv comedians. And I looked at it. I was like, man, I could probably do that. I could probably do some improv. And then at the time, like I ended up looking up a comedy club, like comedy clubs near me on Google, and there ended up being one 5 minutes away from my house, walking distance from my house. And I walk in one day, and there was like toys all over the wall. There was posters. They had like a big Simpsons like statue with all the Simpsons sitting on the couch. It like blew my mind, and I was like, this feels like somewhere I'm supposed to be. And then I ended up trying, like, they had an open improv jam, and I tried improv like a week later, and I just fell in love, man. I fell in love. I was like, man, this stage, they said I had stage presence. They said I had natural talent. I was like, man, I could build off of that.
Yeah. I love that. That's so awesome, and it's so important to just really be passionate about what you're doing. And like, I mean, like obviously you have to make money and stuff to live life and pay bills and stuff, but I think it just makes such a difference when you actually enjoy what you're doing and you care about it.
Right. It brings a new level of, you know, talent when you're passionate
Mhm.
about it. It's like they say, like, hard work beats talent if talent doesn't work hard. I think
Right.
like that is like a stigma to make people like work hard, but like if you just enjoy it, the work isn't hard.
Right.
It's like
Yeah.
play hard.
Exactly. Exactly. And I think to people that might not be super familiar with improv, and I honestly probably include myself in that category. I think there might be like this thought that like improv, like you're improvising on the spot, so
Mhm.
you're just going with the flow. But like, is there still a lot of like preparation and practice that goes into being successful with improv, or is it literally just like you don't really have anything to prepare, you just go do it?
um A little bit of both. You
Okay.
don't have anything. You don't know. Improv is basically, for everybody listening, like, is whose line is it anyway? So,
Hmm.
like Wayne Brady, Ryan Stiles, Colin Mockery, Drew Carey. I think it's a different host now. I don't even know if they still do the show, but like, you get the suggestion off of the crowd, so you don't
Right.
know what's gonna come your way, but um there are like ways to hone in the craft. It's a
Okay.
muscle. It's a muscle. So it's like you can go to like a workshop, or you could go to like a improv jam, and you'll be working that improv muscle, and it gets
Hmm.
stronger, and you'll know what to do when other before you would get stumped and you wouldn't know what to say, but like next time you will know what to say.
Right. Okay. And fast forwarding maybe a little bit to, the stand up that you're doing now, do you take like an improv approach to your stand up, or do you have a more kind of like calculated routine that you would usually do?
I For creating new jokes, I take like an improv approach where I I will have like an idea,
Okay.
and I'll have maybe like some tags I want to hit about that idea and what I think is funny about that idea in my mind, but I won't write it down, because if I write it down, I get too in my head about like the structure of things.
Hmm.
But if I just have the points I want to hit, I just get up there and then I improvise it, and then like the rest of the joke just forms with the
Okay.
laughter.
Yeah.
It's like conducting, if
Okay.
that makes sense, like conducting a orchestra, like when you have like your trumpet over here, you got like your clarinet, and those are just lines of the joke that might be funny,
Right.
and then like, all right, you pull the trumpet out, and then you add in the clarinet, and then it just makes music on stage, man. It's beautiful.
Awesome. I love it. Yeah. It's there's just something really cool about comedy, and I don't think I've actually had the opportunity to see any live comedy, but just like watching comedy specials and stuff on YouTube or
Right.
Netflix or whatever. They're just really cool, and it's cool to see how engaged you can be as an audience member, and really have that kind of like unique experience. Like you're interacting with the comedian. A show one night could be vastly different than same location the next night.
Very true. Yeah, man. There's so many like different stories to be told on stage too, and
Hmm.
different perspectives. So it's like you can have like the same style of comedy, or you can have like the same topic of joke, but like from your perspective, it's always going to be different.
Right. Definitely. And throughout your just journey and career as a comedian, Trey, have you ever had a moment where like things just didn't work out? Like you said a joke and no one laughed, or you just have you had anything like that? Or
Every day, man.
okay, okay,
it it is it's still always a process of learning, man. Especially with I'm a person who doesn't necessarily watch the news. I'm on
okay,
social media, but like I turn off social media when it gets a little too much for me because
sure,
like I like to keep my mind right. I like to keep a positive mindset about things, and the news doesn't do that. It
right,
doesn't put good thoughts into your mind a majority of the time. I'm not
right,
going to say all the time, but a majority of the time it's trying to, keep you down. But like sometimes I'll say something that I don't even know like what's going on in the news, but
yeah,
I'll make a reference that's it's a little too on the nose, and it makes like the room a little uncomfortable, and I'll be like, oh,
sure,
can't say that. And then also also like when you're in different places, there's
mm,
different people, different thoughts, different opinions.
yeah,
You can't tell certain jokes that are liberal in like a red state or like a conservative joke in a blue state.
right,
But I usually stay away from like political jokes.
sure.
I'm more of a goofy comic. I like the Trey, you stupid type of compliment.
Oh, I love that. Okay. Got it. So you would say your style, like you said, is that more like goofy, kind of like maybe
Yeah,
like ridiculous, over the top kind of comedy?
yeah, kind of like I'll say something that's just like outrageous that doesn't have anything to do with anything. But
Okay.
like I was doing this show the other day. It's called Off the Top. It was a like an open mic actually, and you basically go on stage and they give you like prompts on like a projector, and they're
Okay.
just little slides. And I forget what my prompt was, but I was talking about like sex positions or something like that.
Okay.
And I was talking about like doing like the Simba uh with like a nut and like taking it and like putting it across the forehead and be like, remember who you are. And I was like, I can't do that with my wife because she likes Frozen or something like that. And then and then it just sparked the thought in my mind. I was like, wait a minute. Like, do you want to build a snowman? Why are all snowmen white? And it was just a stupid joke. But
Yeah,
it got a huge laugh.
that's funny. Oh man. I definitely I can appreciate your style of comedy. That's funny. Oh man. So like with that style, like did it take you a while to like figure out that that's your specific style and the way that you like to um share your comedy or your comedic, talents, or was it
Yeah.
something that you knew right from the start, like that's your style?
I always knew I wanted to be like a storyteller.
Okay.
Like I wanted to tell stories about myself
Okay.
and the goofy things that happened in my life. I never wanted to like be a current event type of comic looking at the news every day and trying to
Yeah.
figure out the funny in in the news. I always wanted to make timeless jokes that I can tell forever that are just goofy about me. And
Yeah.
it actually took me a while to figure out that my first time doing stand up, I did it after like 6 months of doing improv. I was 6 months into comedy, and like I had stage presence. I always had stage presence, but I could not write a joke to save my life, and I
Okay.
couldn't formulate like from improv to stand up. They complement each other very well now that I know how to use them in each sense.
Sure.
But back then, I did not know what I was doing on stage, and like I would try it, and then I'd be like, maybe I should just stick to
Sure.
improv. But over time, it was just like, man, I have the stage presence. I have good jokes. It's like it's all about you know formulating a good you know 10 minutes of jokes
Yeah.
and actually being able to look at a room of people
Mm-hmm.
and be like, all right, they're gonna like these jokes,
Yeah.
and they've always been. They're all my jokes are goofy.
Okay.
But it's like picking which goofy jokes can come out at which time. Like,
Yeah.
and then I
Okay.
formulated a Trey, you stupid. Like I didn't know I was like I didn't know I wanted to be I didn't know I liked that compliment until I got it like 2 months ago actually. And
Okay.
I've been doing comedy 5 years,
Yeah.
and yeah, I did this show, and the I did had a 10 minute set. I was at the end of the night, and like my jokes just fit so well into each other, and it was just me introducing myself. I was just
Yeah.
like, my name's Trey, and people all already know Trey's a nickname. They always think it's short for like Trayvon or Trey Sean or Tres Cuatro Cinco Seis, like. And then I just went from there, and then I was like, a little bit more about myself. When I was younger, I wanted to be in a gang, but I wanted to be in the best gang, top tier, top of the food chain gang. So I wanted to be a cop, and it just flowed so well. And then like I got to tell people my real name at the end, which like I was like, now that y'all know me a little better, I'm gonna tell you guys my real name. And it was just the biggest punch of the night, and everybody went wild for it. It was great.
Wow. Okay. And I hate to admit it, but I actually didn't realize that Trey was a nickname.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. Am I able to know what what the real name is?
You could go check out my Instagram. One of my pinned videos tells you my real name. I'm
Okay.
not gonna say it on the podcast. Maybe I can get some followers out of it.
There we go.
People are gonna be like, what is this guy's name?"
All right, what's the Instagram? Drop it so people can go find out your real name.
All right, Tre Walker, TRE.ENT.
Okay.
You can follow me on Instagram or TikTok at that handle.
Okay, perfect. And if you go do that, like if you pause this episode or just do it while you're listening, um, message me what Trey's name is. I think that'll be hilarious if anyone does that. Um, but no, okay, I love that. That's funny, man. And it sounds like, I think of when I was younger, I was into sports and I played a lot of sports, and I think about like kind of getting in that like flow state of, playing basketball, you're making all your shots.
Mm-hmm.
Playing baseball, when you're pitching, you're hitting every spot that you're trying to hit. When you're hitting, every time you swing, like you're making solid contact. It sounds like in that kind of example that you shared, like when all your jokes just flowed together that night, it's like you were just in that flow of like everything was just firing and you're just perfect timing on all of it.
Right. And it gets to the point where like it's like that even at practice, quote unquote, like
Mm.
even when I'm doing open mics, like I'll bring out some improv and joke about the comic before me, or I'll tell a joke about who's in the audience. Um, like the most recent open mics I've been going to, I haven't been just fully just talking about my own jokes.
Okay.
It's like I'll have maybe 3 minutes of material, but I'll leave some breathing room for whatever to happen, because you
Yeah.
can't. It's like life, man. Things will be thrown at you the most random times. Like it'll be like a weird ass laugh, or it'll be like a heckler. You gotta like shut down the heckler, or you gotta like see somebody laughing and be like, "Yo, that laugh is outrageous, bro!" Like,
Right.
and just like if you call it out on the spot, brings that brings you into the moment,
Hmm.
which everybody is experiencing it with you. It's
Right.
like when you're telling jokes, yeah, it could be like current event jokes, or it could be like jokes about you, but those aren't like right now. When you
Right.
break it down to right now, people appreciate that a lot more. So they're like, oh man, this dude's the truth.
Yeah.
But like, I already knew that. So I think I'm the truth in myself. So it's always cool to bring that and see people feel it with me, you know?
Yeah, for sure. And like I've noticed just in conversations with you, in this conversation specifically, you seem to have this kind of like air of confidence, right? And I'm not saying that like you come off as cocky or arrogant, but just like you seem very confident in your comedic abilities, yourself as a person. Like, is that something that's just always been a part of you, or have you had to like learn to be confident?
Um, I think it came with experience for sure.
Okay.
I I always like to say I grew up ugly, so it was never always there. I still have my moments where I'm not like completely as confident as I want to be, but I always bring it back to myself. Where like at the end of the day, I know I'm gonna have fun, and
Yeah.
that's all that matters to me. If I'm having fun, it doesn't matter what other people think, and that gives me confidence.
Yeah.
That because the I think most of the time the lack of confidence comes from how you think other people will view you,
Hmm.
and you kind of get embarrassed, or you think you overthink the future.
Right.
But if you, like I said, bring it back to just like right now and who you are, just know like you're a good person, or you are a person, period. Like,
Right.
and if you like to have fun, just bring it back to having fun. If you like to talk, just bring it back to the talk,
Yeah.
to the speech, It's it's about internalizing. For me, like where my confidence comes from is like just internalizing whatever the anxiety or fear is before
Mhm.
going into something.
Okay.
It's like
Yeah.
people always think, what's the worst that can happen? I'm like, what's the best that can happen?
See, I love that, and I think that ties back into what you're saying earlier, Trey, about just like how you like to have a positive mindset, and that's just important to you. And I think you're saying avoiding kind of some of the drain that the news and current events can put on us. Like that's one way that you keep your mind right and everything. But like what else? Like what else do you do that helps you stay positive, or what really got you into being a positive person? Has that always been you? Has it been something that you've had to develop over time?
uh, yeah, it's always been me. I would probably say my dad.
Yeah,
So
that's
you've
fair.
had conversations with my dad, like
Yeah,
that dude gets you hyped, like
he does.
ready for whatever, like and like he has deeper conversations with like his family than he does with like, people outside of the home.
Hmm.
And like he fires me up, and he makes sure I stay on the right track of like, enjoying my life. And he keeps me grounded a little bit. But like before that, he says I'm the one that inspired him to do that, seeing me as a kid, like enjoying my life and asking questions. So
I love it.
I guess I was always a free spirit of it, enjoying
Yeah,
life. And it takes a lot to enjoy through, everything that happens in the world, especially being, a black man in America,
hmm,
and seeing everything you see on the internet, on the news, that happens to people who look like me. and just having to know deep inside, like, it's like I'm not what you see. I'm more than what you see.
Right.
And I'm confident to know that I'm more than what people see. Because I'm more than what I see when I look in the mirror. So it's like I gotta hold myself accountable to know that I'm always okay.
Yeah. Which I'm sure isn't always easy.
It isn't, but it gets easier over time.
Yeah.
And recently I've been, reading more. I've been stimulating my mind with more like positivity, more good books, more, things that tell you like you got this,
Yeah.
rather than like, scrolling social media, or scrolling specifically maybe like Instagram, where it's all pictures and videos of people who maybe they are doing well, but like they're claiming to be doing better than they are
Mm-hmm.
for likes.
Yeah.
But man, I don't care about no likes, man. I care about love.
Yeah.
You said you're gonna double tap, send me the heart emoji.
I love that. Yeah, I think it's just the way the world is now, and social media and news and stuff, it can be really draining on us and draining on our mental. And, I think, like you said, listening to, reading, surrounding yourself with positive things, things that are going to uplift you, it's important. And it's something that we all probably know we should do, but not all of us are good at doing it or prioritizing it. But it's something that you, you'll notice a vast difference if you start doing those things.
Facts. Yeah, man. And there's like this new term that has been going around, which has been weird to me, but like I've been understanding it more and more, I guess,
Okay.
which is like toxic positivity. Have you heard of that?
I have, yeah.
And I guess like it's weird that people think like being positive can be toxic,
Right.
but it's like I understand like it's avoiding the problem.
Mm-hmm.
Avoiding the problem is toxic positivity. If you take the problem, and I like to put it in this type of wording, like people always ask, do you believe in fate or free will?
Mm-hmm.
And I like to think that they're not mutually exclusive.
Yeah.
I like to think fate is what's going to happen, what happens, period. Things are going to happen anyway.
Mm-hmm.
The free will is your attitude about what happens. And if you keep everything that happens is neutral. I'm learning this in books. This is what I'm reading.
Okay.
This is not like me, the prophecy or whatever.
Right.
This is what I read in books. Like whatever happens is just neutral, and
Okay.
then what determines if it's good or bad is your attitude about it.
Right.
And like you can put all these things in your mind to tell you like that everything's going right, but if you don't work on it like daily, it can get to you, and it could be like you can bottle up these emotions that are not good, and you're covering and you're masking it with positivity. But like you got to know within yourself like everything is going to happen. You
Yeah.
just your attitude about it is what makes it good or bad. And if it is something that is heavy on your heart, you got to talk it out, because communication is key.
Yeah.
You said that at the beginning.
Yeah.
Conversations, man.
Man, everything you just said, Trey, just is spot on. I couldn't have put it better myself, and I totally agree. And I think that, just everything is going to happen, and it's just our attitude and outlook on how things are going or how they're going to happen. And, I think both of us can say that, like, our lives haven't been perfect, and they won't ever really be perfect. Like, there's always going to be things that, we're kind of struggling with or we're hung up on. But I think it's just like to take each day and be positive, or to have a positive outlook, it's a choice, and it's a choice that we have to make every day.
Mm-hmm.
And
Until it
it's
becomes not a choice, and because it
exactly.
becomes like the norm.
Yeah.
The conscious mind is just like, it's gonna work out
Hmm.
without you even having to think about it.
Exactly. Yeah. It's something that I'm sure you've heard a lot of throughout your life, but just something that just having conversations with your dad, something that he always says is like the world is working for you, right?
Exactly.
And I think that that's just a powerful thing that when you kind of think about it in that light, it kind of clicks.
It does, man. And I've realized it more and more. Like sometimes, like like with your parents, it's like it's kind of hard to separate them lecturing rather than like showing you what's real
Mm-hmm.
sometimes. And like
Yeah.
I didn't always understand it when my dad was saying. Like I knew I got the gist. I got like it was a good foundation that he built, but until like I started, going out on my own and seeking information and seeking, good books, it really started to resonate with me, and now when I look at the trees, man, I see more than just the tree, I see more
Yeah.
than just wood. I see life that gives me life. Like it's crazy that the trees like breathe in what
Mm-hmm.
we exhale and they exhale what we breathe in. I
Right.
feel like I'm getting too existential right now.
No, I love it, man. I love it. I'm with you on that 100%. You've mentioned just like books that you've read and that you're reading that have kind of helped you on this journey and with your mindset and attitudes on life. Do you have like a specific book or books that you'd recommend to people to check out or that have really impacted you personally?
Yeah, man, A New Earth
Okay.
by Eckhart Tolle has been really good. And I honestly just started reading this year, and it's not even reading. I've been listening to audiobooks, but I mean it's the same thing,
It
man.
counts, yeah.
It's good things that you listen to rather than reading the words. I can do it while I'm driving. I can do it while I'm walking the dog. Like I want to get into like actually reading books, but I think that book right now has me on like a new level.
Yeah.
Um, I'm reading a book called Atomic Habits about
Yeah.
implementing. Have you read it?
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
Yeah, that book's great. It's about like implementing systems to help you form better habits,
Mm-hmm.
and that's been like triggering good thoughts within me and making sure I'm doing all the things that I want to do and creating better habits for myself.
Yeah.
Even though I fall behind sometimes, but
Right.
I know
I,
like it's just one day, and then
yeah.
like I can always get back on track.
Yeah. I mean, I think that that's honestly a huge lesson that we all kind of need to learn and struggle with. It's like one bad day doesn't need to dictate the next week or month of your life, I think.
One
Like
bad moment either,
yeah.
it's like some people can have like, back to the attitude thing, like some people can have like somebody cut them off and that can ruin their day because of
Yeah.
their mindset is like, man, this dude cut me off, we could have gotten in an accident, I could have died. And like you trickle down with these thoughts and go down this long road and you end up at just anger or
Yeah.
negative emotion. It's like if you be like, oh man, this person cut me off, whatever. Maybe they had to get home fast. Maybe they need to get over into the left lane, and I didn't see them soon enough.
Hmm.
And then you just let it go. And then the next moment, somebody could let you in when you need to get over it. It's
Yeah.
like it's what you pay attention to.
Yeah. I think that's such a good point. Just like it doesn't even have to be, a whole day that throws up. It could be just a moment. And it's like kind of acknowledging moment, catching it and letting it go, like you said.
Facts.
I mean, I think we
Really.
have all, like even me and you, having this conversation have probably had days where, you know, we I don't know, spill a coffee in the morning, like, and then you're like, okay, this whole day's ruined, and it doesn't have to be.
Right.
But a lot of us kind of get in that. I think it's just the way that the world is and the way that society is. But sometimes we just need to slow down a little bit. And
Yeah, man. We're all people. We're in.
yeah,
We have emotions. It's just we don't let them control us.
yeah,
Is when we thrive. It's like we are, again, back to a new earth. We are a consciousness experiencing life, is what the book says.
hmm,
It's like we are more than just the body and the mind, the thoughts that we are. It's like bigger
exactly,
than the thoughts. We're like that voice in your head. We are what recognizes the voice. We are the awareness of the voice.
exactly. Spot on. And like that's something I've talked about on the podcast before. And I'm sure if you've listened to every episode, to anyone listening right now, you've probably heard me reference it. But it's like that idea, like, you know, if we're feeling something like, you know, me, Zach, or Trey, neither of us are sad. Neither of us are mad. Like I am Zach and I'm talking to Trey. We're just the awareness of those feelings and those emotions. We are not those actual things ourselves.
Right.
So,
Yeah, man. And
man,
I apply that in all points of my life.
yeah,
When I hear a comic that I don't necessarily like their jokes, and I'm like, this person isn't funny. I'm like, well, maybe it's my ego that doesn't like them
right.
because these jokes are offensive, or I just like it. It gives me peace about the moment,
Yeah,
regardless. Like even if I don't necessarily, if I'm at an open mic and I hear some jokes that aren't funny or whatever, I'm never like, oh, I'm funnier than this person.
sure.
This person isn't funny. I'm just like, not my taste, or
Hmm.
I'm not feeling this at this moment. This isn't what I need. I still listen,
Yeah,
or I or I don't.
right, right.
It's like I'm allowed to do that because I know myself.
Exactly. Yeah. So, Trey, to anyone that's listening into our conversation, if they're maybe just starting their journey as a comedian, or they've been wanting to get into comedy but they're unsure of it, or they just haven't taken that official jump yet, do you have any advice for anyone in a position where they're trying to get started, or break into the industry?
Yeah, man. First, figure out what style of comedy you want to do.
Okay.
Obviously, there are different shows you can watch on every streaming platform. Go watch some improv first. Go watch some Saturday Night Live, which is sketch comedy. Watch some sketch comedy. Watch some stand up. If you feel like you're a better writer than you are like acting on your toes, but you don't want to be alone with a microphone in your hand, I think sketch would be perfect. You can write out a scene and then you can act out that scene and make it funny.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't like writing and you want to just go and do it on the fly, there are ways you can go find improv classes, you can find an improv theater. And if you do like to write, or if you like to get on stage and talk shit, go ahead, pick up a mic, go to an open mic. There's plenty of open mics everywhere. I think you'll find a lot more stand-up open mics than you would any of the other styles of comedy. But there are classes you can take online. There are just YouTube is a source that will teach you anything you want to know. So just go type
Mm-hmm.
in sketch comedy, improv comedy, stand-up comedy. You will find out how to learn, find out how you can do any of that yourself.
Yeah.
But go watch Don't Think Twice.
Okay.
That's the movie I watched to
Yeah.
get started.
Okay.
Um, Go watch Eddie Murphy Raw and Delirious.
Okay.
Watch some Saturday Night Live or some Black Lady sketch show.
I mean, hey, I'll throw in go watch some Tre Walker too.
Oh yeah, and follow my Instagram so you can get the best comedy ever.
Exactly. Yeah,
I
the
am the
number one source of comedy.
I'm the GOAT. You heard it here first. Humbly, of course.
Self-proclaimed, right?
Yeah, son. I'm on my way.
You are. No, you're doing great, man. And from what I've seen, it's always been enjoyable, and just even this conversation, man. Like I can tell that you're able to think quick on your feet, and just you have that kind of like wittiness that just it's cool to hear about, and I can see how this is kind of always this is just who you are at the end of the day. It's not you playing a persona or something when you're on stage. It's just you, just maybe
Having
with a little
fun.
more preparation and having fun, right?
Yeah. Sometimes, man, like after a while, like after like I've exhausted some jokes so long, like I'll be like, man, I don't think I want to do these jokes no more. And it'd be like 2 weeks. I'll be like, man, I'm tired of telling these jokes because I feel like I just need to always be coming up with something new, or I need to like
Yeah.
always be just entertaining myself. So when I stop like entertaining myself, I'm like, all right, maybe it's time for some new jokes.
I like that. That's an interesting kind of way to gauge it of like, are you entertaining yourself, or have you kind of maybe like plateaued with that content? Is it time to pivot and create more to move on to something else?
Right.
Okay. I like that. I feel like that's something that like also we could kind of apply to just any, career or thing that you're going in life. Like if you're not feeling, entertained or satisfied, or you feel like you've kind of hit a rut with what you're doing, maybe that's your sign to switch it up and try something new.
I agree. I agree. Or take it to a new level, It's not
Yeah.
even change careers, or it's like add something to it. Add a challenge to yourself, Cuz like you said, we're not perfect. Nothing will ever be perfect. It's like unless you 100% a video game. Like what
Yeah.
do you do after you 100% a video game? You go get a new video game. Like that's what
Right.
you got to do. Always add a new quest.
Yeah. Always just leveling up and
Exactly.
just progressing forward.
Max out the levels, and there usually isn't a max. In
Right.
life, actually, in life, real life, there's max levels in video games, but
Yeah.
there's more than level 99, baby.
100, right?
Exactly. There's 101.
Oh man, we could just go back and forth all night, couldn't we?
Right. Yup.
101, 102.
Infinite numbers. Level infinity, homie.
There we go. Numbers are fun, right? I love it. Awesome. So Trey, like what's kind of on your plate for this year? Like what are you gearing up for? What are you excited about, or what are you looking forward to?
I'm looking forward to new opportunities. I want to actually, I'm doing a show that I can't even tell nobody about.
Okay.
But it's like a huge show that like I've been wanting to do. Like they got a huge Instagram following, and I'm so excited for it. And so I seen some like big names go through there. Some people from SNL. I seen people who've been on Jimmy Fallon.
Okay.
I'm hoping to do some comedy festivals. And hit some new cities that I haven't done comedy in yet. Like I've only done comedy in Seattle, Tacoma, which is in Washington,
Mm-hmm.
Chicago. Obviously, I'm from there, and then I did an open mic in Orlando. But other than
Okay.
that, I don't think I've done comedy anywhere else. But
Okay.
I want to get to New York this year. I want to get down to LA, see if I got the juice, see if I got the chops for the big towns. I want to be big time, baby.
I love it.
I want to
There we
see
go.
my name in lights.
There
Tre
we go.
Walker. I know people are gonna misspell it sometimes. It could be like Trey. There's no Y. It's Tre with the accent mark.
Okay. Yeah, you heard it here first. TRE accent mark. That's what you got to do when you're making your signs to go see Trey live someday. That's
Yeah.
about right.
No, but
Or
other
else
than that,
you're gonna
I'm
be part of his joke.
exactly. Yup. I'm always writing jokes.
There we go.
But
But
I
that's kind of the
also wanted
main.
to. Yeah, that's
Oh,
the main goal. But I also want to produce too. I haven't produced a show yet, so
okay.
I'm talking to a couple theaters right now about producing a show out here in Seattle. Hopefully, it's going to be a traveling show, so I could bring it back to um, Chicago and maybe even come up there to Michigan,
Yeah.
hang
Yeah,
out with
man.
you.
I know, man. Like, Chicago is a stone's throw away. So,
Right.
whether it's your production or any comedy shows or anything, I would love to get you up in Michigan sometime and to check out live what you doing your thing.
Show. Yeah,
And
man. Or if you set up and just fly me out. No, I'm just kidding.
then,
Put me in a hotel, it's about $100.
hey, man, I already told you I got a couch. That's the
Even
luxury that you
better.
can get.
Even better. As long as you
Coming
got
to
a
a couch near
blanket.
you. Awesome, man. No, it's been a pleasure getting to know some of your journey and just kind of how you got into comedy and everything from your mindset to, just how you think about just comedy in general in the process. I think to anyone who might be considering going into comedy, or maybe they're an aspiring comedian, have this conversation and hearing your thought process and your experience, I think that's something that could be really beneficial for sure.
Yeah, man. If you do want to get into comedy, hit me up. I'll have more tidbits on my Instagram. Man, I'm always working towards being better myself. So,
Yeah.
the advice is always going to enhance and it's always going to, get better. I'm always going to get better. So, if I didn't give you everything you needed here, I'll definitely be able to give it to you later.
I love it. Awesome, man. Then, like you mentioned, your Instagram, reach out to you there. Is that the best way for people to get in touch with you and follow everything you're up to, hear about any shows or anything that you might be doing, or is there anywhere else that people should be aware of to check you out?
No, Instagram is probably the best way. I probably hop on the Instagram the most to like post on my story or post a reel or something like that. And I got my messages notifications on, so all
Okay.
you gotta do is reach out via message or comment on my story. You'll reach me.
Okay. Perfect. Then I will put Trey's Instagram in the description of this episode. So again, go there, find his go hit him up, let him know that you heard him on the podcast. Tell him that he's stupid, but in the best way possible. Check out his content in general. Figure out what his real name actually is and the story behind that. I know what I'm going to be doing as soon as we get off this call. But yeah, man, it's awesome to just connect with you here and everything. And to anyone that's listening, do you have any final thoughts or words or message that you want to leave people with?
Gotta clear my throat for this one.
Oh, I'm expecting something big.
Everybody listening, I love you. I love you. And I mean that. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. You are loved. You are appreciated. You deserve to be here. Enjoy this life, man. We only get one that we know of. We might as well enjoy it as much as we can, right?
Yeah.
And laugh. Laugh a lot. I laugh you. Oh snap! I started saying that. Oh snap! I just came up with a new tag.
Did you really just come up with that?
Yo, I laugh you.
All right, you've heard it here first. We're making history on the podcast. I love it. I mean, I think that that's a great message to end it with. And honestly, like you have to clear your throat. And is everyone listening? I had no idea what direction you're going to take that. But no, I mean, I think that that's so important. And I echo everything Trey just said. You know, I think it's important for you to know that you're loved. You have a lot of value. Keep doing what makes you happy. I mean, this whole podcast is about passions. So, just follow your passions, follow your dreams, turn it into a career. Don't turn it into a career, do whatever makes you the most happy. But I think that's a great way to sum it up. And I guess for the sake of the podcast, I will say that I laugh you too to anyone listening.
I laugh you back, Zach.
Oh man, awesome. Well, Trey, again, it's been an absolute pleasure, man. I'm just so glad and grateful to be able to connect with you and to cross paths with you. And I feel like this is just going to be, one of many more conversations we have. And I'm
Of
excited
course.
for your journey. I'm excited to hear, what you're doing out west, where you're at now, and when we come back to the Midwest and stuff. I'm excited for that. And like I said, anytime you're in Michigan, man, I'm gonna be front row. Can't promise I won't heckle you a little, but I'll be
Oh,
there
I'll
at the
shut you
show. And
down, bro. I
oh
get
man,
ready.
okay, it's on.
Man, I appreciate you reaching out. Appreciate you having me on the podcast, man. I'm excited to see what this brings. I'm excited to see who reaches out and in tune to get into comedy or to just have a conversation, man. Um, if ever you want to have a conversation, obviously just reach out, man, and I'll even give you my number.
Oh man, wow, I feel honored. I appreciate it, man. And same to you. If you ever need anything, always feel free to reach out. Anything I can do to help you, support you, make your life any easier, I got you, man.
No problem, man. Peace.
All right, man. Take care.